My stepmom accused me of scratching her brand new Tesla and demanded I pay $6,000 for repairs. She even had photos as proof. But then I pulled up my dashcam footage. I'd been living with my dad and stepmom for 3 months while saving for my own place. The hospital where I work as a nurse pays decent, but rent in this city is insane. Moving back home was supposed to be temporary, just long enough to build up a solid down payment and get out. My stepmom Rachel never liked me. From day one, there were little comments about how I left dishes in the sink, about how I used too much hot water, about how I was taking advantage of my dad's generosity. I tried being nice at first, but after a few weeks, I realized it wasn't worth the energy. She'd already decided who I was, so I kept my head down, worked my shifts, and avoided her as much as possible. We had this unspoken arrangement. I stayed out of her way. She pretended I didn't exist. It wasn't pleasant, but it was manageable. I parked on the street instead of in the driveway because I didn't want her complaining about me blocking her in. I bought my own groceries and kept them on a separate shelf. I even started using the basement entrance so I wouldn't have to walk past her in the living room. Last Tuesday, I came home from a 12-hour shift. I was exhausted, feet aching, just wanted to collapse into bed. But as I turned onto our street, I saw Rachel standing in the driveway, arms crossed, face like stone, and I knew something was wrong. I parked and got out. She didn't say anything at first, just pointed. There was a massive scratch down the side of her white Tesla. Deep, jagged, running from the rear door all the way to the front wheel well. The kind of damage that makes you wince just looking at it. She pulled out her phone and shoved it in my face. Photos of the scratch, taken from multiple angles. Each one had a timestamp from that morning, right after I'd left for my 7 a.m. shift. You did this on your way out, she said. Her voice was calm, too calm. $6,000 to fix it. You're paying. I stared at the photos, then at the car, then back at her. I didn't touch your car. The photos are timestamped. You left at 6:45. The scratch appeared right after. Do the math. I told her I park on the street. I don't even go near her car. She had to know that. She stepped closer. Stop lying. You've been careless since you moved in. You don't respect other people's property, and now you've damaged mine. $6,000. I expect payment by the end of the month. I felt my pulse hammering in my ears. I didn't do this. She started raising her voice, talking about how I was always making excuses, how I never took responsibility for anything, how she'd been patient with me, but this was the final straw. My dad's truck pulled into the driveway. He got out looking confused, and Rachel immediately turned on the waterworks. Her voice cracked. She touched her forehead like she was getting a migraine. She talked about how hard she'd worked to keep the peace, how she tried to make me feel welcome, how disrespected she felt. Dad looked at the scratch, looked at me. Just pay for it. Let's not make this bigger than it needs to be. I felt something crack inside my chest. He didn't even ask my side, didn't even hesitate. Rachel crossed her arms again, waiting. But here's the thing. 2 months ago, Rachel backed into my car in the driveway, left a dent in my bumper. Then she told my dad I'd parked too close and it was my fault. He believed her, told me to be more careful. So I installed a dash cam, front and rear, runs 24/7. I wasn't going to let her pin anything else on me. I pulled out my phone, opened the app, and scrolled to that morning. The footage was crystal clear. Me getting into my car, backing out carefully, driving down the street, no contact with her Tesla, not even close. I was parked 3 cars down. I kept scrolling, found footage from 11:47 a.m. Rachel walking out of the house with her keys, looking up and down the street, then taking her own key and dragging it slowly down the side of her Tesla, deliberate, methodical. She even stepped back to check her work before pulling out her phone and taking photos. I turned the screen toward them without saying a word. The silence was deafening. Rachel's face went white. She started stammering, said the angle was wrong, said it didn't prove anything, said I must have edited it. My dad just stared at her, mouth half open. He looked like someone had punched him in the stomach. She lunged for my phone. I stepped back. You want me to pay $6,000? I said quietly. File a police report. Let's make it official. Rachel grabbed her purse and keys and left that night. Didn't pack everything. Just threw some clothes in a bag and drove off. My dad and I haven't talked much since. The air between us feels heavy. Wrong. Too much left unsaid. I moved out last week into a studio apartment I can barely afford. I drove past their house yesterday. The scratch is still on her Tesla.